is short, so I'm going to talk a little bit longer. It is my pleasure and honor to participate this evening in honoring Rhesa Shapiro for her terrific contributions to the Minneapolis chapter and beyond. Some of you heard me say this morning that Ellen Hirschkin was responsible for my being on the Hadassah National Board, but that does not tell the whole story. There were two other women before Ellen who set me on my Hadassah path. Edith Gallup of blessed memory, who convinced me to be the Duluth chapter president, and Rhesa, who decided that I should be the region president after her. Almost happened, there was one person in between us, but that was her goal. Rhesa started preparing me, like so many others, for our Hadassah leadership roles long before we actually moved into those positions. I don't remember exactly the first time that I met Rhesa, but I remember very clearly her coming to Duluth to do a leadership training program. I still remember her holding up a picture of an old woman, or oops, was it a beautiful young woman? Using that one picture, Rhesa taught so many lessons, among them how people see things differently and how important it is to understand and work with those differences. This was probably the most exciting thing that Hadassah had done for me ever, and I know I was hooked from that moment on. I know I was not alone. How many of you took a leadership training course from Rhesa? Stand up if you did. Just stand up. You have to know these are only a few of the people in our region who took the courses from Rhesa. Thank you. What a lesson she has, legacy she has. It was also this training, in my case, that gave me the skill set that led me to accept the position of director of the United Way Volunteer Center, which was the professional experience, if you were listening this morning, that led Ellen to want me on her national leadership training team. I owe that whole circle of my life to Rhesa. Rhesa's training umbrella went beyond our upper Midwest. Many of you will remember the MAC, the Midwest Area COA. Rhesa held several positions in the MAC. In 1991, she planned the National Speakers Training Leadership Seminar for experienced MAC leaders. And as MAC Leadership Chair, the following year, she designed and presented the first national training for trainers. It is hard to describe the impact of these innovative trainings. They really became the foundation of leadership training at the national level that continued for years. I also mentioned this morning the President's training manual that I worked on with Ellen. That whole concept, and I'm sure many of the materials, came from Rhesa's training. The Rhesa umbrella extended even wider. She led the first Western States Young Leaders Institute in Phoenix and conducted seminars for leaders throughout the Central States, Baltimore, Cleveland, Kansas City, Eastern Pennsylvania, and the Southern region, Southern Seaboard. Think of how many women she has touched and trained, and how many became leaders due to Rhesa. There is more to Rhesa than training. I think this realization occurred at my first National Midwinter Board meeting, which took place in Israel. A really heady and exciting experience for a young new president. I was having breakfast with Rhesa, and as people walked by, Rhesa would stop them and say, "I want you to meet my best friend." Pick a name, whatever it might be. I only remember a few of them. Rhesa considered all of these women her best friends, and they thought of her that way also. Her vibrant personality and big smile always attracted people. Rhesa and I roomed together once in Israel, but all I remember taking home from that particular trip was a visit to someone's room where we bought some great jewelry. Rhesa served as the Minneapolis president and as president of Hadassah Upper Midwest, which was in the Upper Midwest region of Hadassah. She went on to hold several positions on the Hadassah National Board. She was the National Expansion Training Chair in the Membership Division and has served as chair of the National Service Committee and a member of the National Constitution Committee. She is now a member of the Honorary Council of Hadassah. Women who have served on the National Board for, I believe it's 18 years, automatically become members of the Honorary Council, where they can continue to serve in national board positions and hold national portfolios. It is truly an